Hi everyone, welcome back to the London Premier League show, and we continue obviously with the World Cup. No World Cup obviously yesterday, and none today as we're recording on Thursday. So we'll get straight into it. I'll ask both of you your thoughts on the tournament so far. What teams or players have sort of disappointed you or impressed you the most? We'll start off with teams. I'll go first. Teams. I've not had a thought about this. Probably Germany. I would have said probably Belgium, but I think Belgium, I sort of knew it was coming sort of with the like players getting sort of old, like sort of we're pushing sort of into the mid 30s, early 30s. So Belgium, I said Morocco would beat them, and they did, but I would probably say Germany purely because of the last World Cup. I thought it was going to be a one-off. I think it was their first. I think I saw a stat. Was it first time knocked out in the group stage in like 60 years, 70 years, or something like that? So I didn't expect it to happen 2 World Cups in a row. With Germany sort of young talent emerging, like the likes of Musiala and players like that. So I really didn't expect them to go out in the group stage. I didn't expect them to win the tournament, but I didn't expect them to go out as early as they did. So I'd probably say Germany in terms of team that sort of disappointed me or I'm shocked by the most. Resantfan?
Oh, shock for me. I think I think Belgium as well. I know they were getting old, but still, you still have the likes of De Bruyne putting it week in, week out in the Prem. I know Lukaku's been off recently, but you've seen what he's capable at Milan. And despite whatever happened at Chelsea, he was still pulling his form in for Belgium. But then suddenly, this World Cup, they went absent. I mean, I think no one really expected much from Hazard. I mean, he's been a ghost since he joined Real Madrid. Hasn't really performed for his country. Um, who else? I'd say I agree with you as well with Belgium. I'm sorry, with Germany. I think it is a big shock. I think anyone would have
Mm.
thought it was a one-off, like you said. This isn't the Germany that we know, and they have a lot of great individual players. That's the problem. It's like I feel like once they go back to Bundesliga, they're going to be putting in the goals. Maybe you can argue it's a farmers league or whatever, but I still think there's great individual players that should have been able to carry the squad. Other shocks, I think Spain were lucky to make it to the round of 16, but then I think they got what they deserved, and Morocco rightfully beat them. So I'd say it's definitely between Spain and Germany for me.
Germany, what killed them is that first game, isn't it? The failure to sort of put Japan to bed when they were sort of 1-0 up. I didn't get to see that game live, but I did see the highlights. And before Japan like got their equalizer, Germany had about a good 2, 3 chances to sort of bury that game, put that game to bed with a second goal, and they sort of paid the price for their lack of ruthlessness. And I don't know if you've seen, both of you have seen Hazard retired now from international football. I saw it yesterday at 31. So I don't know what's going to happen with Belgium sort of in the future. But James, what about you?
No, I'll agree with you, Belgium, Germany, because they're normally a good cup like tournament team. They're surprised. I was surprised. I must mention these two teams before I mention the main surprise. I was disappointed with Wales. I was very disappointed with them, and I was very, very, very disappointed. Not that I expected them to do well, but I expected them to do better in Denmark. I thought they were poor. You
Yeah,
know,
they
they
were.
they, they might as well not have turned up. But the surprise package in terms of a poor performance for me was Uruguay. I just can't fathom like their mistake in that last game where they took all the strikers off and all that. You just sort of think, what's going on there? You know, it
Yeah,
was all a bit sort of, they can all cry on the bench, but they should have been still on the pitch. You know,
Suarez. Yeah,
you got to sort of like work that one out. You know, when you're a manager, you can't sort of think, oh, you're comfortable in the other game and nothing's going to happen.
that's what they
And they
did. They banked on Portugal. Portugal did a job on
exactly,
them. Portugal did.
and they come unstuck. And I just thought Uruguay, like I thought they would have done a lot. They're the main ones I was really disappointed with. Denmark didn't turn up, and Uruguay went out far too early. But they're the ones I'm disappointed with.
You know what I even realized as well? I've like realized it after the game. Uruguay knocked Portugal out of the last World Cup in the last 16, 2-1, Cavani with a brace. So Portugal probably be like, yeah, we're kicking you out. Korea, you can go through. Portugal maybe not revenge, but sort of they get a little bit back on them for that, beating them in the knockout stages there. But I do agree with James. Uruguay as well. Forgot about them as well. Yeah. Um, we'll go now. If you've seen any players, have either of you seen sort of any players maybe unknown before the tournament that you've like been impressed with or kept an eye on? I don't know.
Well, I still can't even remember his name, and I talk about it today and yesterday. It's the young Portuguese lad. You know, he comes on, starts the game for the first, scores a hat trick. You can't.
Or Ramos,
You know, that's took the shine off of people like Bell and the English players have done really well. You know, Saku's surprised me that he can continue his form from Arsenal at England level. You know, Rashford's found some form. It's good to see that. You know, Bell, he's just amazing. The youngster, the 19-year-old. You know, but the Portuguese guy, you know, came from nowhere to start, and you look who he put on the bench. You know, he's well and truly put Ronaldo in his place. You know,
Yes.
so that was a nice surprise. The Moroccan goalkeeper's done well. You know, saving a couple of the penalties. You know, I thought it. But there's just a few, like, you know, Brazil looked lively. You know, Messi's carrying Argentina, so no one's really stepped up for Argentina as yet.
Yeah.
But that might happen. A few youngsters in the Dutch teams, but yeah, the Portuguese guy, the youngster who's scored his hat trick, first hat trick in the World Cup this year, and I think he's only about 18, 19, isn't he? I say.
Yeah,
Am I right?
he's young. I think he's Benfica striker. I think he plays for. But I'm gonna go for. There's two players, sort of. So Enzo Fernandez, sort of Argentinian midfielder. I've heard about him, but I've not really watched like sort of too much of him. When I've seen him play, I've been very impressed. A great goal against Mexico. Going to be a contender for goal of the tournament at the end. And your centre back, James, Moroccan centre back. He was injured at the start of the season. Yeah, him, Agard. Yeah, been really impressed. Yeah, been really impressed. Him and Saiss at the back. I'm pretty sure Morocco have the best defensive record in the tournament. They've only conceded one goal. That was an own goal, but yeah, him, because obviously you bought him and he was sort of, did he start the season injured, isn't it? Well, that's why he hadn't played.
He got injured in the we went to Rangers, I think it was, in Scotland, and he got injured straight away.
Yeah.
And then missed the rest of pre-season and the start of the season, but he's back.
Yeah.
He's back, and hopefully, in a weird way, the World Cup's good because he's getting minutes on the pitch, if that makes sense. So
yeah,
it's like, you know, hopefully that will help with his come back even more with West Ham. But he played a couple of games just before the World Cup, so yeah, he looks all right.
He's been excellent. So in terms of him number one in terms of players that I didn't really know much about, that I've been very impressed with, and Enzo Fernandez second. Razanthan, you?
I think I'd have to agree with Mr. Datsun on the Ramos lad. I mean, obviously we all know what happened with the whole Ronaldo situation, and it seemed to have somewhat affected the Portugal squad as well. Otherwise, Ronaldo wouldn't have been dropped. And then the manager came out and put a statement out as well. I know Ronaldo's come out and said a few things, but I think it's the fact that it's worked out beautifully for the manager. You know, you drop a huge star like Ronaldo, especially, I know he was big for United, but I know he's way bigger for someone like Portugal on a different scale. So for him to be dropped, and there's a whole shock, and there's probably a bit of austerity. People are worried, you know, their main man, their captain is not on the pitch. And then for this lad to just come in and just carelessly just score a hat-trick like it was nothing. He's done well.
Okay, and are there any players you've sort of expected more from sort of coming into the tournament, but they didn't quite deliver or meet your standards? I'll stick with you, Razanthan.
I think Kane's definitely performing, but in terms of goals, he's definitely is lacking. You know, he came into this World Cup finishing top scorer, Golden Boot, last World Cup. I think it was 6 goals. I know he scored in around the 16, but he gives me more of a Rooney kind of vibe now. Like, you know, he's sitting back, he's more of an assist man. I think even for his goal, he looked up to see where he was going to pass and he couldn't find anyone. He was like, okay, looks like I have to take this on my own. So I think, I'm not saying Kane's not performing, definitely performing. It's just he's taken a different approach this time in terms of he's more a team player than he is going for the glory.
Spot on the sentence, because sorry, Sion, but just to add that, spot on the sentence, because if you just looked on the paper and you seen how many goals England have scored, and Harry Kane's meant to be a striker, you'd think he'd had more than one goal. So very, very good point. I think we scored 12 goals, and
are we the top scorers? Did someone say we're top scorers? Or
something like that. I know Portugal might have.
Yeah, with that.
Yeah, sorry, John, seeing I interrupted
My one,
your.
my one. I actually had an absolute mare. Like, I don't know if you remember my golden boot predictor. I just tried go outside of think outside the box. Darwin Núñez. My God, I wish I could take that back. Yeah, I actually expected him to sort of. I didn't expect him to be sort of as anonymous as he was. Didn't really influence any of Uruguay's games at all, which I thought he did because I sort of knew he was going to get minutes. Obviously, Suarez and Cavani approaching the end. And yeah, he's massively let me down in terms of what I thought he could do in this tournament. I even said golden boot as probably the viewers will remember from the last episode. So yeah, he's probably the player I've been disappointed with the most. James?
It's very hard to sort of pinpoint individuals, but when you got to look at the teams that have gone out, no one in Belgium sort of stepped up really. And you sort of think they should. Lukaku, the amount of chances he missed in that last game, it was as if he didn't want to be there. It was as if like he was deliberately trying not to score rather than trying to score. So like, you got to, if you want to name one player, I'll name him bitterly, like megally. And then he smashes up the dugout. Come on. He put more effort into smashing the dugout than he did trying to score. That last game, I could have scored a couple of them.
De Bruyne put about 3 on a plate for him. Yeah, about 3 chances.
And that's where you can't. That's where the likes of De Bruyne and all that, they look as if they've had a poor World Cup.
Yeah.
But in theory, if he stuck 2 of them, if he stuck 2 of them away, people would be, waxing lyrical about how De Bruyne's crosses were and how superb they were, and he just pinned, inch perfect. But Lukaku was just like,
The worst thing, it was on a plate. It was on a plate. Oh God, no, I don't want it. The thing is, it's like De Bruyne, like, the crosses where you've got a cross and when it's literally in front of the goal for you, literally put 3 in front of the goal for him. And yeah, he couldn't score. So yeah.
So he would be, if I've got to name someone, which I don't like doing, but he's the one out of the teams that have gone out, the teams I've mentioned, like Denmark, Wales, Belgium, Uruguay, Germany.
Yeah.
Lukaku's the one who would stand out as the one who was individually disappointing.
Yeah, no, that is true. I think he's be worse than Núñez, to be honest. And surprise package of the tournament. I think maybe I speak for all of us. I don't know, but I did not expect Morocco to get to the quarterfinal. And being sort of part African myself, I'm glad to see at least one African team in the quarterfinal. I don't think there's ever been an African in the semi-final. Obviously, we all know what happened with Ghana in 2010. They're the closest to ever make it. So Morocco, going to be difficult. They got Portugal in the quarterfinal, but we've seen upsets in this World Cup.
It sounds peculiar. It sounds odd to say this, but Morocco will have a chance only if Ronaldo starts for Portugal, which sounds ridiculous. Ridiculous.
I know where you're coming from. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because from what I read and from what I listened to, Portugal played a lot better without him.
Oh, they played fantastic.
And they need to start with the team that started that game.
They were excellent, Portugal.
So Morocco will be hoping Ronaldo's on the starting 11 rather than on the, because they'll have more of a chance. Because technically, as you said earlier on, they're probably the best defensive record in the World Cup. Mm-hmm. So, if Ronaldo starts, they've got more of a chance to keep it as a stalemate and either nick it with an odd goal or take it in extra time or penalties. But that's just no one. You wouldn't be saying that before the World Cup. Oh, Morocco got a chance to get to the semi-final as long as Ronaldo starts for Portugal. What are you saying? Well, that's a bit odd. But
yeah, you make
that's how it's worked out. That's how it's worked out.
Under Santos, their manager, like they've sort of been quite pragmatic in tournaments. Even the Euros they won, sort of it was more sort of defense first, like priority. But against Switzerland, like they really went for the game. Like they attacked from minute 1. Yeah, they blitzed Switzerland, and it was deserved. They could have scored more.
But that says a lot. Sorry to bang on about it, because we've mentioned him a lot in the previous when we talked about the Premier League, and Sampson made a very good point about Ronaldo at Man United. Portugal played that well, not because of that youngster. Yes, he was outstanding, he got hat-trick. But the rest of the players were relaxed without having Ronaldo in the team. And that's a clear fact now. It's like Man United. Ronaldo, if Portugal get to the final, I might even say the semi-final, I reckon he could retire from football. Because he's got nowhere to go. He's got nowhere to go. Or he go to America or somewhere where it's money orientated more than actually winning something. But Samson might know the exact answer to this, but He's not the oldest. Who was the oldest man? Who was the old man Pepe who scored?
Pepe,
He's
39.
39. Was he 39? How old's Ronaldo? Is he 37 or something?
37, yeah. Alves is 39 as well. For
Yeah.
Brazil.
So I have a feeling that Ronaldo, oh God, dare I say he could retire?
Possibly.
If Portugal, but I know he's after certain records for Portugal.
Yeah.
You know, the amount of goals and so. And he's
and
never
you know-
scored. He's never scored in the knockout stages.
Knockout, yeah, he's never scored. Yeah.
That's an amazing stat. That's an
Messi
amazing
got his first.
stat.
Messi got his first one against who did Argentina play in the last 16? My mind's gone blank. Who did
This
Argentina?
was the last one.
This one, Argentina beat Australia. Messi scored against Australia. That was his first knockout one as well. But back on.
I'm not being funny. Not many people would have known that. If in a quiz question, name 5 international strikers that have scored in the knockout stages of the World Cup in the last 20 years, I mean, a majority of people would say Messi and Ronaldo and all. You know what I mean? Without even I think I would have done maybe, but you know what I mean? Ronaldo not to have scored in the knockout stages. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Just quickly on the retirement thing, we know like sort of Ronaldo how much he cares about his records and stuff, and I think Messi's sort of something like 10 Champions League goals behind him, and Ronaldo's not going to want to lose that record to Messi. So I know he probably might not.
Yeah, but where's Ronaldo going to play to score any more Champions League goals?
That's very true. Yeah, that's very true. I think he still thinks he's got it. I think he's probably a bit in denial, but yeah, no, I don't know what sort of elite club he'll be able to get to in sort of.
He runs the risk of losing his legendary status if he continues doing what he's doing. So he's got to like be careful. He's got to be careful, you know. But anyway, sorry, we went off a bit.
Yeah, was that fun? Surprise package?
Oh, surprise package. I think Morocco definitely. I'd up there. I'm trying to think who else.
Usual suspects, pretty much.
Yeah,
you could say Holland. Like, I don't think many people they got a few youngsters, as Sion said before, and all of that. You know, they could give Argentina a good game, I think.
No, yeah, they were my tip before the tournament. If Holland beat Argentina,
I don't see any difficulty for Brazil against Croatia unless Croatia can get to penalties with Brazil. I think they've only got a chance of going through on penalties rather than beating Brazil in 90 minutes or extra time. I see the Dutch giving Argentina a bit of a run, so they could be a surprise package. You know,
the Dutch they've been very sort of clinical.
But for me, surprise package. We talked about African nations and things like that, and other continents doing really well, like Japan and South Korea. You know, for them to get both into the last 16, I think is good for them, and it's good that they both got through. So I think they're sort of like were surprising. They're sort of like, you could say a surprise result may have been Saudi Arabia against Argentina.
Oh yeah.
You know, so there was a few surprises, but you'd still predict that, the 4 teams that make the semi-finals are going to be elite teams. But then if Morocco make it, that's your surprise package.
Yeah, definitely.
That's your unbelievable. You imagine drawing them in a sweepstake. You would have thrown it away. If I paid a £5 and pick a team and I picked Morocco, I would have just thrown it away.
Yeah, you might be trying to fetch that now. Yeah.
No, you'd be thinking like I could get 4th place or 3rd place here.
Yeah, you could. Right, moving into the quarterfinal previews. We'll start off with the one that probably is impacting us the most in terms of the one everyone's going to be talking about the most, England-France, in the quarterfinals. So, both of you, your thoughts on that? Sort of the key
battles. Can I get mine out of the way?
And your score prediction. Yeah, go on.
Get mine out of the way very quickly because I can't. I'm so impressed. I think people gave Southgate a bad deal because he had a bad run in the summer with results and all of that. But I said it'd be different in the winter. I said the players will be more focused and more fitter and tuned into it. The youngsters are coming through, but you can't deny, we're playing France, the world champions, the current holders. Players all over the place. You talk about Mbappe, but you've got Griezmann who could create so many things while we all worry about Mbappe, But the only thing I will say is I want England to win. I'm predicting them to win on penalties. But I'm also predicting whoever wins it, they win the World Cup.
Oh, wow, really?
I'm going early doors there. for you.
So after extra time, what do you think is going to be? 1-1, 2-2?
I think it will be a classic game. I think both teams will attack. I think it could be something like 2-2. I think it could be something like 1-1, then 2-2 in extra time. Do you know what I mean? I think there'll be goals consistently. And I can just see it being, going like that. Because England won't fear anyone now. England aren't going to bottle it. The first half an hour against Senegal, there was no way a previous England team over the last 20 years would have done what they did in the first half an hour and then got on a 1-3-0. They would have done what they did in the first half hour and crumbled and lost 1-0.
Yeah.
That's what the difference is. So I just think England haven't been tested, but you can see if they are tested, they ain't going to worry. They're just going to go and create. And whatever's coming off the bench is quality. It's like, it's replacement with quality. There'll be one or two players that should start on Saturday that will be on the bench, Yeah. And the only thing with that, the only downside with that, if we do lose, it gives the press and those that don't understand football a chance to moan, oh, well, he didn't play Rashford. Oh, he didn't start with Foden. Oh, he didn't start with Saka. No. As long as Rice is okay, then we know we've all got a chance. You have a bit of West Ham in there, isn't you? Come on. I'm hoping he trained today. He didn't train yesterday.
Yeah. Where will this game be won and lost, and what's the score going to be?
I think it's a tough one, I'll be honest. But, I personally don't think France would turn up the way they did, only because, we had the Benzema scares, the Pogba's, Kante. I know Kante's a bit old and Pogba's not really, but Pogba always shows on the international level. So coming to this tournament, they're still, flying out. I know they had that odd result against Tunisia, I think. But other than that, they're scoring goals for fun. They're playing for fun. Giroud, I think, what was he, 38, 39 or something like that. He's just surpassed Henry's record and he's still scoring. Mbappe is just playing for fun. I mean, I know there was always the issues with PSG and Real Madrid and all the transfer speculation, but it's like that's all gone out the window for him right now. He's just proving on the World Cup. I think, what is it now? 8 World Cup goals in 2 tournaments.
I think 9 in 11 games. 9 in 11 games.
Yeah.
What do you both think? Mbappe, best player in the world? Do you both think? Or no?
He's got to prove it. He's still young.
Like right now, in terms of like right now.
That's when you got to phrase it. Are you saying right now, is he the best player in the world? Yeah. He's in the top 2. He's in the top 2 or 3. Yeah. Has he got the potential? Reception spot on. Ask me in 5 years, is he going to have that much of an impact like Messi has and Ronaldo has?
Yeah.
Could he end up being like a Zlatan or Lewandowski? Who was all like, didn't quite get to the level of your Messi and Ronaldo. He has the potential, don't get me wrong, but will he be overtaken by a Jude Bellingham, depending on who he moves to? Do you know what I mean? It's like, can Kyle Walker just put him in his pocket on Saturday and show the real Mbappe that he's got no...
You see Kyle Walker's interview in the press, he's up for it, he's waiting for this battle. I sort of watched a bit of the press where they were sort of asking about the matchup, how are you going to stop Mbappe and all that. And Walker, he seems quite confident. And Kyle Walker's done a job. He's done a good job on him when City have played PSG in the Champions League.
It'd be interesting to see. It would be interesting to see who they get to referee the game. If they get a European ref to ref that game, that's key. That's key, because potentially you get like a different continent refs it, may not be able to cope with the France England, the sort of the players and the speed of the game, give unnecessary bookings, people then on a tightrope,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Razanthan, going back to you, Razanthan, your score predictions, how do you think the game's going to pan out?
England have a lot of qualities. I won't deny it. It's, the fact that you can make 5 substitutions, you can bring on anyone. You've got the likes of like Marcus Rashford that doesn't start, Foden, all of these players. It's great. I just think France, I feel, just edge it out 2-1. But I'm going to go in terms of opposite of what Datsun said, and I think whoever makes it to the semi-finals, whether it's Brazil, Argentina or Netherlands, I think they'll go on to win the tournament.
Okay. Yeah, so England, I think this is probably maybe the first maybe the first time in a while like a France would sort of be worried about an England. I think in previous years, they probably wiped the floor with us. They would have been too good for us, too strong. We don't quite have the sort of experience or just quality in the squad to sort of get over the line. I think if we had this team like in the Euro final last year when we were 1-0 up, I think we probably would have beaten Italy, but that's obviously gone now. In terms of this, I think France, they're not the sort of, as Razamfan sort of mentioned, with the likes of sort of Pogba, Kante. This ain't the French team that won the 2018 World Cup. That team, I think, is better than this. Even like underrated players like Matuidi that would sort of bring you balance on that left-hand side. I think as we've said with England, France are sort of yet to be tested as well in terms of high quality opposition. I hope Southgate sticks with a 4-3-3. I hope none of the back three or anything like that. I want him to keep a 4-3-3. Maybe it wouldn't be too bad to sort of play a Henderson, sort of keep him sort of close to Walker to like sort of double up on Mbappe and stuff like that. But in terms of a score prediction, I'll be honest, when James said about Southgate's critics, that's me included. I sort of didn't think he sort of knew how to sort of get it done in sort of the tournaments, or he has a certain ceiling. But in terms of the score prediction, I'll go 2-1 England after extra time. Yeah, and I think in the other game, I'll probably say the winner of this game loses to Brazil in the final. That'll be my prediction. Argentina, Netherlands, quarterfinal. I'll go first. I'll probably say Argentina probably favourites, but Netherlands have sort of gone under the radar in this tournament. Van Gaal, they've been sort of very solid, especially Van Dijk and Ake. I think they've been tested quite a lot because Holland have sort of invited a lot of pressure onto like themselves in games, but they've defended very well and they've sort of been clinical on the counter. That's where they've sort of scored majority of their goals. In that game, I'm gonna say scores. I will go 1-0 Argentina. Razamfan, you can go next.
I think Netherlands are going to win it. I just have this hunch that they're going to produce an upset. I mean, I know Argentina are good, but I've seen some of their games. They lost to Saudi Arabia. I know they pulled it back in the other results, but it seems like Messi's carried them a lot. And like you mentioned the stat before, this was Messi's first knockout goal. Let's see how he really proves himself against a team like Netherlands. Would he be able to carry them, or will the other players need to step up and carry the win for them? But I think Netherlands have got this. I think I'm going to go 2-0 Netherlands.
Ooh. All right, James.
Argentina win it. Messi gets the winner. 2-1.
Right. Brazil, Croatia. We'll stick with you, James.
Well, Croatia will only win if it goes to penalties, but it won't go to penalties. Brazil 3-4-0 win. Comfortable.
I'm going to go 3-1 Brazil. And yeah, as I said, Brazil. They'll still be my favourites to win the tournament. So yeah, I'll go 3-1 Brazil. Razamfan?
Yeah, I think Brazil are going to dominate Croatia. They haven't been as great. I think not necessarily lucky, but they got away with one against Japan. And then even making it to the round of 16, they weren't the greatest. So I'd definitely say Brazil, even 5-0. But I'm going to go for realistic 3-0.
3-0. And last, Portugal, Morocco. We'll stick with you, Razamfan.
Again, I think what Mr. Datson said was correct. I think if Ronaldo plays, it's definitely going to be a different dynamic for the team, and it'll be different to see how they react and how they play. Also, the fact I think you got to bring in just the mentality from Morocco as well, because like I said, it's a World Cup. We don't know what's going to happen. Yeah, you can say on paper Portugal should win, but we've seen upsets before in this tournament and in previous stages. So I'm going to go Portugal to win, but I think Morocco would definitely put up a fight. But I'll say Portugal 2-0.
Yeah, Portugal, Morocco. Listen, I would love Morocco to go through, but I think Santos, if he's got any brains about him, he's going to keep that same starting 11 that battered Switzerland, as James said. I think Portugal, they've got sort of firepower up front. Spain, we sort of know Spain have had like sort of their goal scoring issues over the last couple of years. But I think Portugal are clinical, and yeah, I think Morocco, I think the fairy tale is over. As much as I don't want to say it, I'm going to go 2-0 Portugal as well. James?
Right, this is it. This is what's going to happen, right? Morocco are going to win 2-1 against Portugal. It's going to be an evenly matched game. Ronaldo's going to miss a penalty in the 89th minute. Morocco will hang on and win 2-1 and then get to the semi-final. And then England will beat Morocco in the semi-final and then beat Argentina in Messi's swan song against Argentina in the final. But that's provided we get through France. If not, if France win, they'll play Portugal in the semi-final and get to the final and lose to Brazil. Job done.
So you're saying, yeah, that's the last question. In fact, who's going to meet in the World Cup final? What did I would say Brazil, England. If we lose to Brazil,
Argentina, England final.
And Razan, for you?
I think it's going to be a Brazil-France final.
And who do you think would win that? Brazil.
I'm saying Brazil, but I don't know why, just France. They just have something in them, that flair, that swagger, that just able to produce it. But Brazil are turning up. It'll be interesting to see how they perform.
I must say though, imagine the semi-final, Brazil-Argentina semi-final. Can you imagine that? How often do you get that? That's a proper South American derby. Going to be sort of tackles flying in that game. I'm expecting that game. Wouldn't surprise me if there's like 12, 13, 14, 15 yellow cards. It's going to be sort of that type of game for me if they meet in the semis. But yeah, before we wrap up, anyone have anything to add? Any last minute thoughts?
Just a good job that on this podcast, we don't have any added time, because we could be having about 10, 15 minutes added time, like the World Cup. What a disgrace that's been. But no, it's been good. I think the World Cup has surprised a lot of people in terms of the football. Not necessarily in terms of where it is. We've all been through that. We've spoken about that. The stadiums are lovely. They're air conditioning, but 6 out of the 8 are going to be taken down. What legacy is going to be left, I don't know. But in terms of the football and seeing other continents do well, like we spoke about, I think it's been good. But I just hope we get to a decent, this is now crunch time, decent semi-finals and a final. And they should still do away without the 3rd and 4th playoff. I don't know why they bother with that. That's just ridiculous.
No one's interested in that. Razanfan, any last minute thoughts? Or
yeah, I think I agree with Mr. Jackson as well. I think this World Cup has definitely surprised us. I mean, newspapers, media have all been skeptical about this World Cup. We also heard all the controversy, the politics, and everything. But as Mr. Jackson said, put that aside, the beautiful that's been played is brilliant. I mean, there's been a lot of shock results. I don't remember 2018 being as this much. We had the Saudi Arabia win against Argentina, Tunisia winning, Morocco going through, Japan. I mean, there was even, I think, maybe like around the 60th, 70th minute, Costa Rica was going to go through instead of Spain. So these are the moments that have turned up that we don't really see in other World Cups. It's always somewhat, you've got the standard teams going through. This time, we have seen big upsets. Even if they haven't gone through, we've seen those big upsets take place.
All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and share. Leave in the comment section who you think is going to win the tournament, the semi-final matchups. And yeah, we'll see you all again soon. Possibly before or after the final, definitely in and around then. So take care.